Most players think you need flashy mechanics to rank up, and I actually got SSL before I could even consistently flip reset. In this video, I'm gonna give you the secret to ranking up with no mechanics at all. I'm gonna start this off by explaining the reality. It's so cool to see pros or freestylers do triple flip resets, quad resets, insane mechanics, and the first thing that comes to at least my mind is I want to be able to do those mechanics because they look so cool. The really big misconception though is that we don't need those mechanics to rank up. If you're trying to become mechanical, yes, you obviously need to learn mechanics if you want to be mechanical. But if you're actually trying to rank up and that's your only goal, you can do this pretty easily by just learning the basics and using the basics. And players like Flakes and Squishy and Lethamir are live proof of this because each of them have series on their channel about getting to SSL with no mechanics at all, and they give you a complete breakdown. I'll have each of their videos in the description of this video, so you guys can check that out if you're interested. Dice from the future here. As of recently, I'm using my experience as a 12-time SSL to do live one-on-one coaching over on my Discord server. And I'll be personally looking at your mistakes, telling you exactly what you need to do so that you can fast track your improvement. Click the first link down in the description below to book a session with me on my free Discord. I hope to see you guys in there. Next on the list here is positioning. If we don't have really solid positioning, then we're not going to be able to compensate for the fact that we're not using crazy mechanics. If I'm going for insane double flip reset, triple flip reset, cross map, air dribble plays, I won't really need the game sense portion as much as if I'm not doing that. But if you're only using flicks, shots, low 50s, if we're just using the basics, we have to make sure everything is really dialed in. So a really good rule of thumb for positioning is always be within 1/4 of the field of your teammate. And what I mean by that, if your teammate is trying to make an attack and he's on the opponent's side of the field and you're in your corner grabbing boost, your teammate can't use you for help. He can't use you to score, and he's efficiently in a 1-on-2 on offense. And what will happen later on is if he does not score, which he probably won't if he's the only person on offense, is he's going to get stuck back as last man and you're going to get 1v2'd because your teammate's going to be back, all because you weren't with him to start. So you're really just putting yourself in a 1v2 situation. And if you're versing good enough players, you won't win that almost any time because all they have to do is have someone go and try to bump you, and then it's an easy goal for the other person. All they have to do is drive it into the net. So it's really just hurting yourself in the long run if you're not playing with your teammate and you're not positioning in a way that supports and enables your teammate. Next thing on the list here is boost management. A lot of people overlook this, especially lower ranks, and it's because boost management is something that a lot of people don't think about. Boost management is a lot more important than probably anything else on this list because boost is pretty much all of Rocket League. You know, you can't really play the game without boost. You can't aerial. You can't do most mechanics without boost. You can't really do anything without boost, if we're being honest. So boost management is what's going to actually allow you to have good positioning. It's what's going to allow you to do things I'm going to talk about in this video. So in my personal opinion, I think you should always be between 20 and 80 boost. For me, that's the sweet spot. You don't really want to be at 100 boost because that means that you're not using your boost at all, and you can't really play fast if you're not using boost. And you don't really want to be super low boost, like under 20, because then if a play happens where you need to use a lot of boost, you won't have it. The best thing I found is trying to save the majority of your boost until you need it. So just passively flipping through the field until there's a play where you need to use a lot of boost. And then if you have a lot, you can use it and you'll likely beat other players to the ball because you watched this video on how to have good boost management and they didn't. Following boost management, we're going to talk about defensive awareness. This is kind of similar to positioning, but just strictly talking about defense here. When we're on defense, and let's say we're last back, a lot of players, especially the ones that I coach, a lot of players think that they should just challenge the ball as quick as possible if you're last back on defense. But it's actually the opposite. If you're on defense and you're the last back, your main goal should be to stall for as long as humanly possible for your teammate to get back. And then hopefully once your teammate's back, he'll challenge for you. So when you're last, you never want to go first unless you're 100% certain that you'll win the challenge. If you're not 100% certain that you'll win the challenge, you'll probably end up losing the challenge. So best rule of thumb, always wait, try to stall for your teammate, try to kill time, try to do whatever you can so that you don't get scored on and your teammate can get back. Next thing on the list here is making smart decisions. More specifically, making smart challenges. If you're making challenges mainly as last man or first man or whatever it is, if you're making challenges where you're not covering the net, like you're doing 50-50s that could go into your net, you're pretty much throwing the game. All you need to do when you're challenging is cover the net. That's pretty much your main purpose when you're challenging any ball, especially as first man. When you're first man challenging, you want to be challenging the ball so that your teammate has an easier possession. But if you challenge the ball and the ball 50s right into your net, that's your fault. And it's not unlucky because if you cover the net, you can't get scored on. It's not possible for the ball to go 50 into your net if you are covering the net with your side of the car. Another part of challenges that most people overlook is challenging the other people's corners. You never want to challenge in the opponent's corner because their corner is their safest spot to challenge on the entire map, because the likelihood of you scoring from their corner has the lowest probability than anywhere else on the entire map. So when you're challenging, if you're going to go into the corner, pretty much only fake challenge, only drive challenge. Do not flip in the corner, or what will happen, like I said earlier, you'll be leaving your teammate in a 1v2. It's just the other way around. You would be the person that you're trying to come back for your teammate, and your teammate probably won't be able to save the ball because he's in a 1v2. Last thing on this list here is rotations. When we're rotating and we're getting off of the ball, a lot of players make the mistake of rotating ball side. And this isn't a every time situation because you will see pros rotating ball side, but the issue when you're playing in lower rank solo queue, GC2 and under, is if you're on the ball and you're rotating off, your teammate won't know you're rotating off because you're not really giving them significant body language. I highly suggest to rotate back post 99% of the time so your teammate knows it's their turn to go for the ball, and then you can just rotate behind them and then set up another offensive attack. Another huge part of rotations is boost pathing. When you're rotating, you always want to be grabbing the small pads so you can stay topped up in the 20 to 80 range while you're playing the game. A lot of people rotate and they completely forget about pads, and then there's zero boost and there's a shot coming at them and they can't save the ball because they weren't grabbing the pads like they were supposed to. Boost management also ties into rotations, which ties into smart decision making, which ties into position making, which ties into keeping minimal mechanics in your gameplay so that you don't have to play all day. And it's all one big key. That's all I have for you guys in this video. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.